Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another brand new episode of the show. Today's features my buddy Glenn Williams. This was a really great conversation I had with Glenn. We got into some of his incredible stories. He's got definitely a troubled past that we get into, but we also talk about all the good stuff he's doing today, including his brand new EP that is available everywhere. So be sure to check out his Wake Up EP from Glenn Williams. And you're going to get to hear it all, get a preview right here on today's episode, along with a little live acoustic jam at the end. So hope you enjoy that. I want to remind you that Rock Paper Podcast is brought to you by Roughneck Beard Company and American Rambler, located in Maplewood, Missouri, right over on Manchester. You can stop by and shop locally or shop 24/7 at roughneckbeardcompany.com. Use my code RPP15 for an exclusive 15% off your purchase of all your favorite beard oils, beard balms, junk powder, or even their Roughneck Genesis. This is a fortifying and maximizing beard nourisher. This is great for this time of year because it features aloe vera juice infused with biotin, B12, MSM, and glycerin. This product will actually help your hair and skin pull moisture in from the air around it, keeping everything soft and healthy. Just a couple of quick sprays before adding your favorite beard oil or balm, and you're good to go. Again, check out everything at roughneckbeardcompany.com, and tell them Shane sent you. If you need anything from me, feel free to reach me at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you all. Let me know what you are listening to. If you got some request for somebody you'd like to hear on the show, or you just want to say hi. Again, rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com or any of the socials. You can find me there. All right, everybody. Thank you for all your continued support. Hope you enjoy this episode. Sit back and relax. Enjoy my conversation with Glenn Williams.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
Hey, this is Glenn Williams. That's right, Glenn with 2 N's. So nice, you gotta write them twice. And you are listening to the Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Took a little trip over to Bell Vegas, Illinois, hanging out with Glenn Williams.
Yeah. What's happening,
Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Oh, yes. Let's, you made the joke already, but let's hope that this doesn't have the same effect as the last one I was on with. Oh, man.
That was a lot of fun, but, and it's not what's weird is it's happened more than once, like where that type of thing, like where we get on and talk about something, and then like by a couple weeks after that it's done or whatever. So
yeah, well, in our case of the podcast, it was we were trying to find our way,
right,
and then in the process of all of that, life happened. Like
And a global
everybody,
pandemic.
and then right after that, the globe. Well, and the biggest hurdle that we were like trying to overcome was we had lost footage and stuff because we were doing, it was a podcast. We were also doing like video with it, so I guess we were maybe more of a a show than that. But it was we had lost like 5 episodes, like full blown interviews, and so that was a headache. And then, like I said, everyone kind of just had Dave had a baby, and so I'm not saying that we're done. I have a feeling that we'll probably revisit and have maybe a little fresh legs to try to take off on it. It's podcast is something that I would like to venture into myself also. So
yeah, man.
I know in the future that's kind of on my checklist, bucket list.
For sure. Yeah, I have a ton of fun doing it, and that's why I still keep doing it. June was 6 years of doing the show now. So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, did you ever think back then when you started that you would be charting?
No,
That's insane, dude. That's awesome.
We started just as a goof, man. It was like, my buddy Chris was like, "Hey, you might want to do a podcast." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds fun." I've been listening and bought a mic. Went to Best Buy, bought a mic, sat down in his basement, pressed record, trying to figure out what the hell we were doing, and
Right.
And that was it. That's as much thought as we put into it. This will be kind of fun. And we started talking to some buddies, and I had no idea I'd still be wanting to do this 6 years later, or that I'd get to talk to the people that I get to talk to, or that there's people are listening around the world and shit. It's crazy.
It's really easy sometimes to, I think anyways, to once you're isolated on your little island here in the Midwest for so long, it's easy to not even realize somebody in a whole other country would find this interesting and want to listen,
right?
And that, to me, that's the coolest part about the progression, I think, of the way things are moving with technology and all this stuff, because anybody nowadays can do this and can follow. There's zero excuses to not follow a passion of yours,
right? Because
you just never know. You know what I mean? And like you said, it was that my problem would be overthinking in the beginning. Well, what gear do I need to buy?
Yeah.
What should I get? I need the perfect setup. I need, but I think now more than ever, and especially after the pandemic and everything that's happened, now more than ever is the time to go for it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people getting creative because they're all stuck at home the same way. And
yeah, man.
Finding different ways to, do something different. So, yeah, it's fun to kind of see some people getting creative and find different ways to express themselves. And especially when you can't do what you normally were doing,
right.
Band shows or whatever it is, stuff like that. So,
I have no clue when you're going to be able to get back to having a live concert with a big crowd, but man, I am going to be beyond broke.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get a 5th job just to supplement all the concerts that I'm going to want to see. I feel for everybody that was in a group and stuff like that. Like me, I was fortunate enough that once things have slowly, it still affected me. I still lost a lot of gigs that I had set up doing, acoustic shows, and but now things are at least lightening up enough and safe enough that I can kind of get back into the swing of that, which is pretty cool. So I feel super grateful and fortunate for that, because that's like a cathartic release, man. I need that. I need to play and perform, and there's just nothing like it.
Right.
Absolutely nothing like it. I mean, it's just so much fun. And then, being in a band, the part that really sucks is, you spend all this time with those dudes and you really enjoy, all that creative process, and then having to kind of put a stamp on that and hold it is a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, there's a lot of people trying to figure that balance out right now, trying to figure out how to they either do we hunker down and work on a record and just put out music like this, or do we hold off and wait till next summer or whatever?
Well, and in my case, I was like, I had anticipated to release my album in May anyways, but it just so happened I released it the week that everything got shut down. I was like, well, if I'm ever gonna push it out now
Sure.
I might as well just go for it, because initially I had plans to try to in some ways I mean, it's been 10 years since I've been actively, writing music and performing my own music and doing stuff like that since I've been with the New Translation. So I can't go out expecting off of the strength of that from 10 years ago to just have like packed houses. Like I have to completely start from scratch and earn my way back to, a high place place and standard that I held myself to. So I have to be able to, really earn. But how can you do that if you can't have shows and can't interact with people and get integrated back into the scene? So I think now, again, more than ever, is definitely the time to write and record and just have so much music that you're swimming in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because how people need things like that as a release. Like I know in tough times I can go to a playlist and it'll just somehow get you through. So you just never know that song that you emotionally write in your house, because you're stuck there and you don't know how to deal with the world could help save somebody's life and you'd have no clue. That's
Absolutely,
so, I feel like having a talent like that, you are kind of obligated. I feel like you have an obligation to share that. So that's why I put the record out in hopes that in some way it'll help somebody get by,
Yeah. Well, let's. You mentioned New Translation. Now, let's kind of go back a bit.
Let's do that.
Me and you haven't been friendly for a while, but I still. I feel like we ran in a lot of the same circles, but we never. You talk.
We
about
never ran into one another where we like had time to actually get to know one another, and that's not to your fault at all. I was 10 years ago. Glenn was a handful to deal with. I was very I partied a lot. I'm wound tight as it is, so I was always moving. You couldn't keep me in one place. But
yeah,
we always ran into each other and we've always been cool. And then then you started the show, and so I ended up always seeing like everyone I knew doing the show, and I was like, man, I want to do that. So I'm glad that we can have this, but I will never get tired of talking about New Translation. That was one of the most fun times of my life.
Yeah,
hands
man.
down.
You guys got to do like all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, I know just recently, I remember you shared a video and there was some stills in there from like playing Point Fest and stuff, and like you guys, that band was hot, man. You guys were doing a lot of good stuff.
We came out of high school. Now I'm dating ourselves. Sorry, guys, but we came out of high school and me and Jeremy had been in a band with each other since we were like 13. We had been through like 2 or 3 different bands. Like when one would stop, we started another one. And Justin was involved with the very first band I was ever in. Al was involved. And then that kind of group of us, me and Justin and Al and Jeremy, we started another group with another kid named Danny called Synergy in high school. And then Danny was a genius. The kid has a job, like he works with Shure and does the schematics for microphones and pedals, and like he's just so smart. And the kid was a shredder, still is, on a guitar, like plays it so effortlessly. Like he's so good at it. Then he was like, well, I'm going away. So we kind of had to figure out what we wanted to do. It was like, well, we're going to try to start another group and stuff. And then it all kind of fell into place from there. We met Gerald. I had a few classes with him, and he was a really cool dude, and I knew he played music, and our bands had always done stuff, throughout the high school, which, again, we've had this conversation. That time, when we went to high school, we had people like Al Holliday that was going there, super talented, and then Danny's brother Caleb was the bass player for Al's band for the longest time. So we all just had played with each other and played a bunch of parties and a bunch of just cool stuff, growing up. So it's really cool, again, like I said, to see, how everybody's kind of went from that to where they're at. But started the group and decided that we wanted to try to write a record. So we had started writing, had a drummer, our buddy Adam Birch, who's Boss Mode. He's a DJ. He's really big in the EDM scene right now. He's really great. You should check him out. Shout out Boss Mode. What's up? He decided he was going to go do some other stuff. So Corey Langgrader happened to fall in our lap. I reached out to him and always saw him play. Dude's incredible. He was like a robot. He just never missed. Like, and so yeah, man, we just like locked ourselves away in my basement and played for hours and wrote a bunch of songs, and but getting to that point where we got to play Point Fest, like, man, we played a lot of sketchy shows, like a lot of crazy, situations to work our way to that point. And then what was really cool is that we had the thing that really took us to the next level was the fact that all of our friends were in such support of what we were doing. Like, without those,
Right.
ticket sales, we don't get recognized in the local scene, and because of the hard work that we did trying to sell tickets and push ourselves. I mean, and we were playing a lot, dude. So, I mean, it wasn't uncommon to see us like once a month at Pops on a bunch of different shows and stuff. So,
That was like just a magical period, man. Like at that era, like like saying like coming like either like right in high school, late high school, right out of high school and stuff. When your friends are playing bands like that, I mean, that's what got me into doing this. Was like I was following around guys from my school, Hollow Point Heroes and Exit 714.
okay.
They were so
We played a couple gigs with those guys.
For
We
sure.
did the Battle for Point Fest and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I remember them well. Yeah,
But-
Exit 714 beat us, I believe.
Yeah, they were
One night,
a ton of
yeah.
fun, man. Like, but that was the thing. Like, it was just for me. Like, it was so exciting to go see my buddies being rock stars. And
Exit 714 was the group that I think showed up with literally a bus load of people.
Yeah, well, we lived on Wentzville, so we had
Right.
like,
So,
it was
but
like,
I mean,
yeah.
a bus pulled up and piled out. It was and that's the thing, man. When you get into the Battle for Point Fest, it is such. I mean, if you've ever been to like any sports tournament, it's kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? You have like your crowd that supports you, and then the next group comes on, crowd, and so it ends up being just this really interesting experience. It was I had so much fun because you end up meeting so many cool people, like throughout that whole experience. And that's funny though. I haven't heard that name in a while. That's
yeah. I don't know, man. There's just some rumblings online. I'm hoping that eventually they'll get together, and they haven't done anything in a long time either. But they never officially like quit, broke up or anything. They've been busy being dads and stuff.
Man, it's real life. Yeah.
So but I would love to see them do some kind of reunion show and get back together and jam.
Yeah, man.
So,
Why not? You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you love to do, and those are some of the best times that you've had, just even if it's for a night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Experience that. Like, have fun. Because, like you were saying, dude, at that time, we had sat down, we were like, well, what are we going to do? Are we gonna try to go for it, or are we gonna, move into going to school or whatever else we all wanted to do? And we went for it, and we worked our tails off, dude. I mean, we put a lot of work in. If you go from when we started, to the end of it, we had grown a lot, and in every way, musically, and then just how we tried to carry ourselves as a group. We stopped wearing flip flops on stage. Yeah. So, yeah, man. Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah. So obviously, you've been around doing this thing for a long time. You released. You mentioned your EP, which is it titled "Wake Up"?
Yeah,
and
titled it "Wake Up."
And that's came out beginning of May, and now you have this 5 tracks, and we're going to kind of run through and give you a little EP preview. If you haven't got the chance to listen, you're going to.
That's right. We are officially releasing it right now.
Yeah.
I put it out as a soft release. Now it's full blown released.
All right.
Can I say that sounds gross when I say it like that, but it's fine.
I'll allow it.
Full release. Yeah. I'm giving the full release today on your podcast.
And man, this was like so this is the debut though, right? For solo Glenn Williams.
Absolutely. So we quit playing in 2011, and it was large in part to me being struggling with addiction. So I had gotten, the lifestyle was pretty quick and pretty crazy. Along with that, I was dealing with a ton of life changes. Like my mom and my dad and my sister moved away, and I had to choose, like, was I going to move with them or was I going to stay and try to, you know, play music and stuff. So there's just a lot happening. And when you're like 18 and 19 and coming out of high school and going into that other phase of your life, like trying to figure stuff out anyways. And it's a really weird period emotionally. And I was not equipped to deal with that to the best of my ability. And so I looked for other ways to kind of numb myself through that because, you know, we were making good, you know, headway with what we were doing, and I didn't want to stop that. And ultimately, though, I became too much of a problem, and it's my own fault. So after that, there was probably like a 6 or 7 year period where I was just like in the worst way, man, and I was strung out. I was a heroin addict. I'd gotten shot, in my shoulder with a 9mm, like crazy stuff, and so now it's been 4 years since I've, you know, used any of that and done anything like that. And that time frame, while I was really trying to overhaul my life and get better and be a better person and all those kinds of things, I finally, you know, kind of at the right time, I was getting that itch again. I was like, man, I want to play music. And I'd always had a guitar and I was always playing. And I've always done, you know, some acoustic shows and stuff. I had a job at there's a little dive bar called the Birdhouse, and it was like 2 blocks from the stadium. So in like 2017, I was working there, and it was really cool because I was managing the place. So I would, like, every home game, we were right in, like, you had to walk past us to get to the stadium where all the parking was, like, because there's a ton of parking lots around there. So you were walking by, and they gave me a megaphone, so I was always yelling at people and messing with them, selling drinks. And then at night, when the game was over, I would get to play acoustic gigs. I was like part of it. So I always had like that fun. But there's nothing like creating your own music and writing your own music and putting that out and being able to perform those songs and connect with people that way. Because when you hear people sing your songs back to you, you're like, it's a really cool feeling,
yeah,
you know?
Man.
So with these songs, out of necessity, I had went to, man, I guess it was 2016, Nelly had opened up a school
Right.
Called the Extreme Institute through Vatterott. And I went there for a entertainment and media business degree. And so I was there for a while. I actually had a really cool experience there. We got to do a tour. So you got to, they did tryouts, and then people got accepted, you know, through the tryouts, and they had a group of us, and we got to do a tour where we drove around and got to go to all the Vatterotts and perform for them. A couple of the shows were overnights and stuff like that, so we got to go and have that cool experience. And but I ended up meeting a gentleman there that was helping run the school at the time, and his name's Wishmaster, and he's a really, really great producer. He's Grammy nominated. Do you remember the song "I'm on a Boat" with the Lonely Island of T-Pain? So he's the guy that produced that track, and they got nominated for a Grammy for that song that year because it was so huge. But he also has a laundry list of other credits. Like, he's worked with Tech Nine and has worked with just about everybody that's ever been on Strange Music, his record label. And he's got some new stuff coming out with like Stevie Stone and stuff like that right now. But he's got credits with Lil Wayne, Pitbull, T-Pain, you know. So he's got a ton of stuff. He's had music put in, you know, movies and commercials and video games. So he's just super talented. And so he's got a website out and is also on other websites. So if you're a rapper, you're able to access beats through people and you can lease them. And that, you know, that means you can use it, but so can someone else. So me and you could purchase the same beat. But, you know, at the point that I am in my career again, it's like starting from scratch. I don't really need to exclusively own something anyways, you know what I mean? And it's going to be totally different with my spin on it vocally. So that was kind of my mindset. And I ended up getting a good deal with him and got a lot of beats from him. And so I sat down and just kind of was listening to him nonstop until I started, you know, having melody ideas. And then I'd worked out a few of them and I picked out 5 songs, and I was like, you know, I can't not write about the stuff that I experienced,
Right.
you know, for that last decade. It was really cathartic for me to be able to kind of work through that lyrically and emotionally, and because I had to reflect. I don't sit back and reflect on it often. Like I pretty much try to keep focused on what I'm trying to get now. You know what I mean? But so it was really cool to kind of reflect on it and see where I was at and how much I've grown and came from. And then, because I dealt with a lot of mental health issues too, in that time frame, a lot of depression and a lot of times where you're questioning what you're even doing and why am I even here and those things, and would anybody even miss me if I was gone, those types of deals. So there's the song Let Go, that I wrote that to try to make like a it's okay to not be okay song,
Yeah.
Well,
let's talk about Light, because I feel like that's right in that era too. Like,
absolutely, all of it is.
Yeah. And I feel like even as you said, as a fan that listening to this on the way, I listened to it on the way over here today to kind of get in the right frame of mind and like listening and knowing a little bit of your story. Like I feel like is a lot of this could be to help others for sure that have been in similar circumstances, but also I feel like a lot of these songs are almost you writing to yourself at times. Like, it's like it's some kind of thing like that. Like you're telling yourself almost.
Absolutely. It's so with Light and I want to say this too, is I absolutely wrote this record with the sole purpose that I hope it helps reach somebody that needs it, because there were times in my life, man, going through this period where I was homeless, man, for 2 to 3 years. Like I didn't have a stable place to stay. I would, get to bounce around on couches for a little bit, but for the most part, I was on the streets and it sucked. And the only thing that kept me moving in times was music. Like I was, if you would have caught a playlist from me 10 years ago, it's completely different from what you'll catch now, because a lot of sadder songs. But I mean, sometimes that's all you have. And so, if I can write something about my experience and hope that somebody hears it and it can resonate with them for what they're going through and maybe help them, then my goal's accomplished,
Yeah.
But so specifically with Light, though, with that song, that one I wrote almost like, I guess if you want to say it, I'm talking with having a conversation with God or having a conversation with myself, that my higher self that knows better, and I'm kind of like saying, yo, you've been beaten up enough, are you ready to get back to what you were put here to do? Because I really feel like with the talents that I've been given initially and my whole life growing up, I've always been the guy that wanted to make somebody smile. I've always wanted to be the guy that'll tell a joke, or always be the guy that'll, listen to you if you need to get something off your chest, or, you know what I mean? Or be the guy that gives you a random high five just to try to, because it's all, how you treat people, you never know who's going through something. And so I always tried to be that positive guy and use my talents like music and all those things to really lift people up. And for 10 years, I did nothing. I ran from myself and my problems and was miserable. And so that one was more of like, hey, dude, are you ready to get back to business? Like, are you ready to contribute and not waste away, your talents and be a light in the times, especially now more than ever, where it's really gloomy and dark,
Yeah.
So.
Something in the air, moving into night. Moon is full, howling wolves looking for a fight. Losing your own grip, losing your own sleep, losing it all. In too deep, I bet you're scared now, running from fear. Gonna get tripped up, slipped up yet again. When you gonna learn, son? Can you do this right? Waiting for the comeback, waiting for the fire to burn.
I relate. I didn't quite. I never got into the addiction for drugs wise. I have my own food addiction and everything else or whatever.
Me too, man.
Right? Yeah, but again, I've gone through, especially just in the last year, like with losing mom and everything else. Like, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of dark times and where days where I don't even want to get out of bed. I just, or whatever it is, and like there's, and I've flaked on a lot of things. I've canceled on friends and stuff just because like I couldn't bring myself to even.
You don't even want to be around anything because you feel like you're going to bring the mood down.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's how I felt when my dad passed away. Like he was my best friend, man, and he passed away in a really freak accident. Like I said, they moved away and they moved out by Seattle. They were right outside of Seattle in a town called Issaquah, so it'd be like the equivalent from driving from my house to St. Louis, downtown. And what they used to do is they would go, and you're within an hour drive or in any direction to some mountain ranges. So they would always go out there, but he ended up. They were out at a mountain range, and he ended up just kind of slipping and losing his footing and fell off of a cliff.
Man.
And it was that quick, and I wasn't ready for that. And I was already in the middle of trying to like get myself better from being in addiction. And then you piled that on. That was like my safety net. That was the guy that I could always go to for an answer. It was like, hey man, how do I deal with this? How do I get better at it? And when you lose that and you lose like such a gigantic part of your life like that, there's not a book, there's not a there's not a secret to getting through that other than you just try to make the best of it and be happy for the times you had. But I was in the same boat, man. Like you couldn't find me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to do anything, and then I'd have times where I wanted to overcompensate for that and really go crazy. So
sure. Yeah, it's it's difficult, man. There's no, like I said, there's no way to explain it, no way to like help anybody through it. It's just something with that stuff, dealing with grief and dealing with trauma and stuff. Like you have to find it on your own. Like, people can try to help, but really it's just like you work at your own pace and you get through it yourself. And
well, I think ultimately, man, and especially now, there's so many people that have such strong opinions about things, right? And now with social media, it's being used as like people will use it as like a direct line to your thought. As soon as you have a thought, they're typing it and putting it out there. Like, and you got to be careful sometimes because if you're not thinking about it, you can kind of come off the wrong way. But to my point of saying that is like there's all these opinions to where people want to just give you their advice,
right?
And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing because I think it's great that people are looking out for you. But when it comes to this instance, and it's something so serious like losing somebody that's so close to you and was such a gigantic part of your life, I think the best thing you can do is what I had to do personally is I had to educate myself on stuff like the grieving process, and I had to educate myself so I could be aware of my feelings and my emotion, like. And understanding what's triggering me to feel going from a complete high and being fine, and having a good time to just being miserable out of nowhere and wanting to leave or not wanting to go anywhere, not wanting to do that kind of stuff. So that's what I had to do. I had to really, and still do. I've to the point where I'm like obsessed with learning about, neuroscience and how how our brains work and how your emotional states work and all those kinds of things. I just try to dive into that, but mainly because I wanted to educate myself so I could understand how to react or how to, why I was feeling a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would be my advice to people if you're hearing this and you're dealing with things like that, especially in a time now, is just instead of listening to the, 35 people that are commenting on your posts or whatever that aren't, qualified to really give you advice. You know what I mean? Like just there's plenty of books that you can absorb information so you can be aware of, oh, this is why I'm feeling like this, and then navigate through that easier. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ghost. This track 2 on the EP.
Yeah.
And I feel like this, again, kind of you're almost singing to yourself again, like, because it's like I took it as like you're looking in the mirror and you don't even like recognize who you've become. Yeah.
It's exactly. Well, it was. I was thinking about it, and I wrote this with the scenario in my mind was, and for anyone that's never experienced this, you won't fully understand it, but to my experience, I wrote it when I was sick. So at a certain point where you're using heroin, if you don't have it, then your body it's sick. You become physically dependent on it, and that's really the main reason why people stay addicted longer. And people are like, "Yo, you've literally ruined everything. What are you doing?" Well, at that point, I mean, if you've never felt this, it's like getting, imagine having diarrhea, the flu, and food poisoning all at once. And at the same time that's all hitting you, you feel like your bones are trying to crawl out of your skin. It's the most intense, weird, crazy thing that I've ever experienced. And so I could remember like being in the bathroom, looking in the mirror and just being like, dude, who are you? What are you doing? Like completely aware of the problem and understanding like this is insane, but still going, this is so bad, I will literally do whatever I have to just to feel somewhat normal.
Right.
And that's where the cycle is. And that's where detoxing at a place and things like that are great because it gives you a jumping off point to be able to physically deal with it. Because I mean, if you can't stand being in your own body for, every second feels like, oh, this is insane. Yeah, you'll drive yourself crazy because of it. So I wrote the song with that in mind, like looking at myself going, I don't even know who I am anymore. And so that's kind of what it's talking about, because you don't sleep well, and it says 3 a.m. up again. So I'm just every little sound, every little thing will get you at that point.
Up again, the hands on the clock keep me awake, keep me awake. How did I get here again? I can't seem to shake the mistakes I've made, the mistakes I've made. I've been down this road before. I know what comes next. Brace yourself for the impact. Brace yourself for the impact. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. It looks just like me. It looks just like me. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. It looks just like me. It looks just like me. I feel the sweat drip off my face. I'm starting to lose all of control. All of control. I lie and cheat to steal from you. I'll do whatever it takes just to get me through. To get me through. I've been down this road before. I know what comes next. Brace yourself for the impact. Brace yourself for the impact. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. It looks just like me. It looks just like me. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. It looks just like me. It looks just like me. I can't even recognize myself anymore. I can't even recognize myself anymore. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost. It looks just like me. It looks just like me. I've seen a
And yeah, that's what I wrote that about. I've had a few friends message me about it and was like, man, I know you probably wrote this about something totally different, but this is very relatable to me at a certain point that I was at in my life, you know. So
Yeah.
I and that's the thing, I feel like across the board, and that's what I love about music, man. It's just kind of like a universal language, because I could write it about my experience. You can hear it and completely directly relate it to something that emotionally triggered you in your life
Sure.
to the song. So that, you know, that's I love music so much for that. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
because it can mean, you know, you could have 12 people in a room listening to the same song, and those 12 people could all have different, you know, situations that song directly applies to them,
Sure.
you know?
Well, like you're saying, even though your addiction's one thing, I mean, we all struggle, and that's what I feel like that's the overall arc of this record is like dealing with something, overcoming, and you know, so whether it is drugs or just even mental health and trying to get yourself right or whatever it is,
Just
you know,
really just a low. Just
Yeah.
if you're feeling stuck at any point in your life, that's what I wrote this at, because I was stuck for so long and I suffered for so long that I don't want anyone else to ever have to come close to feeling, you know, anything close to what I went through. That's what I always try to say is like, man, I feel like I've suffered enough for the whole world. I don't want to see
Sure.
people have to go through things like this. Like, because ultimately what it boiled down to was me having to learn who I was, and like I said, learn how we work as human beings and try to change it for yourself,
yeah.
you know?
You let's get into Let It Go, or Let Go, not Let It Go. That
yeah.
That's a whole different song.
That's Frozen. I wish I wrote Let It Go,
Yeah.
because I'd be paid right now. That'd be tight.
All right.
I should have named it Let It Go just so people would look
Yeah.
it up. You know what I mean? I'm going to start getting the inside scoop on Disney song titles and just naming my
There you
songs
go.
that, so it's easy. You can find it in the search and break the algorithm that way.
Well, so completely off topic, and but speaking of Frozen, I just listened to my. The other day I was listening to my friend's podcast. They get into like conspiracy theory stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And there was a conspiracy theory revolving around Frozen.
I don't
and-
know how, but please tell me.
So this was a good one. But so you remember? I don't know how long it's been, but several years ago, people were talking about that Walt Disney was had his head like cryogenically frozen and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you heard that story?
Yeah, I heard they put him in a tank and froze him up.
Yeah. So that was. But
Until they could find a way to
Right.
anti-aging or whatever,
Right.
so he could live forever.
it was something.
I believe that. You know what? At this point, nothing would surprise
Sure,
me.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So there was that story going around, and that he and so I guess like Disney as the family company really didn't like that was like, and when you type if you like search for Disney, like that story would pop up or something like that
Yeah.
on like Google algorithms and things. So the conspiracy revolved around the fact that Disney set out to write a movie revolving around Frozen, to where like if you type in Disney Frozen, that this movie comes up instead of
Oh, wow.
anything about Walt Disney being frozen or whatever kind of thing.
That's so funny.
And of course, if that's true, it worked, because like you can, like
Oh, yeah,
it
no,
like
it was
completely buried that story in.
Oh,
so-
100%. Yeah, because I think of all the kids that are just looking up to find
Right.
the song and want to sing it.
Yeah,
That's insane, man. You know, it wouldn't surprise me.
sure.
That's a good one.
yeah.
That's believable.
All
There's
right.
some stuff I hear, I'm like, I don't know, man. That sounds made up. But
Yeah.
this one, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's exactly how it went down, but it worked. If that's, I mean, because you can't, like I said, it's really difficult to try to like search and try to find that story anymore now. So
Think about it too, man. Like, if you got Walt Disney money,
right,
I don't even know, dude. I mean, Michael Jackson was buying a giraffe and a monkey and had a petting zoo. Like, bro, if I had that kind of money, I can't tell you that I wouldn't think of something crazy. and go,
Yeah.
Just on the off chance that this will work, I'm going to freeze myself. You know what I mean?
yeah, sure,
So it wouldn't surprise me.
yep,
I hope one day that it's real. And I want to be alive to see it.
right. Well, let's talk about Let It I almost did it again.
did it again.
Yeah, she's
That's all right.
let go. I don't know why I keep wanting to say that, but
Because it's such a good song.
yeah, let's just play that song instead. Like,
Just play Let It Go. You know what? Forget the album. Listen, guys, go get Frozen 1 and 2. We're going to tandem watch them together. No. So the third song's Let Go. Again, I had kind of said this a minute ago, but this is that my It's Okay to Not Be Okay song. You know, that's...
Takes time to heal the wounds that we make. The heart has scars, but it keeps on beating. Do you feel pressure? Will you ever measure up? Do your mistakes you've made keep you a slave to yourself? Do you feel helpless? Do you feel shameful? Do you feel like you're in hell? Are you tired of giving in to fear? I know it's hard just to let go. Forgive yourself. Free yourself. I know it's hard just to let go. Forgive yourself. Free yourself. I know what it feels like being alone. I know what it feels like to not have a home. I've been depressed, I've been so stressed out. I pushed it way down. I feel like I've lost all control. Yeah, I feel helpless. Yeah, I feel shameful. Yeah, I feel like I'm in hell. Yeah, I'm tired of giving in to fear. I know it's hard just to let go. Forgive yourself. Free yourself. I know it's hard just to let go. Forgive yourself. Free yourself.
I tried to write it as if I was speaking, because all the other songs are kind of, well, I don't think Runaway is, but I know that 3 of them are kind of like where I'm kind of talking to myself, you know? But Let Go was kind of like me writing to anybody that needed to hear it. You know, I was hoping that it would, if someone could hear it and connect to it, that maybe they'd feel a little better.
yeah, man. This well, and I liked with the record, like, even though there are some darker, messages in some of the lyrical content, you know, and not necessarily, it's more or less like the fact that I know your story a little bit, and
Right,
like I was
right,
able
right,
to,
right.
not like, so I think if anybody didn't know your story and they hit play, they probably wouldn't put it all together as much, but
Right.
but that is part of who you are and part of these songs. And so,
Absolutely. I can't hide any of that.
Right.
I can't run from it, you know?
But as far as like the lyrical content, but like all the beats, like you're saying, like, you working with Wishmaster and stuff, and like, but like having some of these tracks and stuff, like they're all like fairly upbeat, poppy.
Yeah,
and
I tried to keep it that way for the most part. But Let Go's kind of like the glue that holds it together. It's the slower one.
right.
And I have to say this before we get any further because I don't want to forget. I got the beats from Wishmaster, and I'm so grateful for that. My buddy Richie recorded. He was a producer on that, so he recorded me. Richie mixed it. So if you're looking for a good engineer, my man Richie's the guy to go to. Richie. Richie mixed it. You can follow him on Instagram. And then really good friend of mine, Nate Northway. He's super talented and has such an incredible ear for music and how it should sound. And he actually is, when touring's going on, he's on the road with A Day to Remember and was on the road with Rise Against and a laundry list of other big acts. So he reached out to me and was like, hey man, I don't have anything going on. Can I, mix and master your stuff? I was like, dude, absolutely. Yeah. So that fell into my lap. So the quality of the record is something that I am beyond grateful and proud of because, not being able to put any music out for 10 years and you come back and you want to kind of, I had a measuring stick for how I wanted it to sound and where how I want it. How I don't want to come out and have something that's less quality than what I was putting out when I quit playing, And Nate was able to take it to a whole nother level and absolutely exceeded any expectation I had. So I want to give those guys massive credit. And also Denny Blackwell did the artwork on the album. So without those guys, I don't have anything, worth sharing or worth, even having this conversation for. So I got to give those guys all their credit and thank them because they made this possible. And Denny did knock it out of the park. He was like, do you have any... I was like, dude, I have zero ideas. Here's the name of the album. These are what the songs are about. Have at it. And he knocked it out. He gave me a great album cover and some artwork. So if anybody's looking for some album art, Denny Blackwell, he's your guy.
Yeah, for sure, man. Let's get into Runaway. Runaway's a lot of fun, man.
That's the single.
Yeah.
Runaway is actually about my dad passing away. And so I was kind of...
Which is not fun, but...
No, it's not. The music itself and the vibe of the song is fun. And actually the messaging behind it's kind of fun because ultimately what I was getting at is... I'm talking about losing my father, but, that, like I said, that was my safety net. And that was the guy I could always go to. And when he passed away... I ended up running from everything. I ran from all my problems, and I was looking for everything outside of myself to fix it. Like, if I got a different job or, new girlfriend or a car or whatever the case it may have been then, I was like, if I got those things, then everything would be better. Everything would magically fall back into place. And that wasn't the case. And until I stopped running from my problems and faced them on my own head on, that's when I was able to grow. That's when I, was able to have progress and grow up and grow as a person. And it was when I just kind of stopped running. So it's talking about, run away. No, I can't run away. I got to face everything in front of me. So
yeah,
that's where that came from. And so I was hoping I can, let somebody hear that when they need to. Quit running. Quit running from your problems.
Close my eyes, I can still see your face. It feels like you're right next to me. You moved on and left everything behind. You left everything, including me. I've got the weight of the world on me. You said you've been set free. I feel like I can't move on. Feel like I can't move on. Run away, no I can't run away. Gotta face everything in front of me. All alone, all alone. Run away, no I can't run away. Gotta face everything in front of me. All that you took your fall from grace. I'm left feeling guilty inside. I hope you'll forgive my mistakes. I've got the weight of the world on me. You said you've been set free. I feel like I can't move on. I feel like I can't move on. Run away, no I can't run away. Gotta face everything in front of me. All alone, all alone. Run away, no I can't run away. Gotta face everything in front of me. All alone, all alone. No, you can't run, no, you can't hide. You can't do anything, just look inside. No, you can't run, no, you can't hide. You can't do anything, just look inside. No, you can't run, no, you can't hide. You can't do anything, just look inside. Run away, no, I can't run away. Gotta face everything in front of me. All alone, all alone. Run away, no, I can't run away. Gotta face everything in front of me. All alone, all alone.
I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like I'm running from it. Well, I guess I am, but sort of like I feel like that's sort of how I deal with it though at times, because there's like for me, I felt like a lot of times where live music was my like release, and going to these shows and everything else kind of kept my mind occupied enough to where
Right.
I could forget about the other junk and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, and so that's why I was going to, I go to concerts as much as I do and everything else, because that's where I feel the most free and at peace and everything. And because I know, like, if I don't, like I said, I'm very, very happy in my life with my wife and everything else. But like, I feel like if I took all that away, the live music and doing this podcast and everything else, like, and I just like me sitting in a room, it's going to be a very dark place. I found that I'm most happy when I'm around these things. So I try to make
Right.
that a majority of my life.
Right.
And so essentially that's where I feel like it's kind of me running at times, but like, where I'm trying to keep all that at bay, but like,
Yeah.
but I feel like if I stop and I slow down, then it's all gonna catch up to me.
Yeah, man, and that's exactly that. You painted a complete picture of what I was talking about. I mean, I wrote it situationally about my dad passing away, but it ties everything into it. Like, I feel like people in general, it's a lot easier to run from stuff, and instead of dealing it, you fear the pain that's going to come from dealing with that. So you try to substitute that for some pleasure. Like, but on the surface, it's all surface area stuff. So it's only going to give you, I'm happy right now.
Right.
Well, what about when you got to go home and you're in your head?
Yeah, sure.
You can only clean your house so many times, or you can only do some things so many times. And I know it has not, like you said, it has nothing to do with being unhappy in any area of it. It's just in here, how do I find a way to be okay with who I am and with what I'm doing? Because, a lot of it is just, the pain is so much that you don't even want to face it. And I had to get to a point where I kind of like forced myself to see it. I had to just deal with it, and I had to, because I would run from it, and if you're running from it, you're ignoring it, and it's there. Like, at some point, you have to deal with that. So I always would use the analogy of like, well, things would happen. It would start to bubble up, and I would start to get upset, and my emotions start to get, maybe I'm boiling with rage, or I'm starting to get irritated or sad or whatever. I would just hurry up and put it in the jar and put a lid on it and put it on the shelf until eventually it's just full and there's no more shelf space, and the shelf breaks, and all those jars of the stuff that you just kept pushing down and tighten the lid on all break, and it all comes out at once. I think maybe that's why some people do like mass shootings and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because that's, you know, especially guys for the longest time, like, oh, you're a man, you can't feel that. Nah, man. We all feel these emotions and these feelings, and it is perfectly normal and should be encouraged to like deal with that in a healthy way. I don't, you know, and I think that's another blessing from what's happening right now, because everything is so, bro, we could go right now and order food to be delivered from Taco Bell to my door. That's crazy. I never thought I'd see the day. Right. You know what I mean? Or you can go on Prime and get everything brought to your house within a day. You can literally have whatever you need. Like, you know, and it makes it so we want everything now. Blah, let's hurry up now. And now when people are told they got to sit down, it's like, I've been going nonstop. I don't even know how to do that. Yeah. You know, so I think that's a cool thing, is you can kind of find who you are as a person. Like, you know, it sounds really, a lot of people probably don't take the time, but if you would just sit down and just jot down, like, you know, what are your values? Like, it's a really easy way to eliminate a lot of the stuff that's in your life that you don't need and don't, you know, and it allows you to kind of eliminate the things in your life that are causing you more pain and stress than you even realized. If you actually sit down and kind of evaluate where you're at, and then, you know, like losing somebody and kind of going through those things, I had to kind of shift my focus. Like, at first it's so overwhelming, the only thing you can do is associate, you know, negativity with it. But imagine if you went to like a party, right? And you get to the party and you see these two people fighting over, you know, in the corner, and that's all you focus on, and that's all you saw, and then you left. Your thoughts of the party would be, well, that was chaotic, that was crazy, man, that was not a good party, that was terrible. Now imagine you go to the same party and all you see is people dancing and laughing and having a good time, and you leave. Well, you're going to be like, man, that was one of the best parties I've ever been to. That was amazing. Same party. It just, your focus was shifted. So that's kind of what I had to do, had to shift my focus to where it went from being like, all right, yeah, this is painful, but where can I grow from it? And also, what can I be grateful for from this? Like, you know, losing my dad. Well, I had, you know, one of the best experiences of having a parent for as long as I did. You know, he was amazing in every way. He had his faults, but he was super supportive and super amazing. So I had to start being grateful for those moments. And then, you know, it was a lot easier to, like, instead of reminiscing and being sad, I would find myself reminiscing about things that he taught me, or I would realize I was doing something that I was like, oh my God, I'm acting just like him. You know, those kind of moments. And so it's not like it happens, you know, at the snap of a finger, but it's something that's, you know, over time, when you try to stay with that, you know, it's really beautiful. It's awesome. Yeah.
Me and my brother had that conversation the other day about our dad, and like, just, you know, kind of how we both, you know, that moment when you realize, oh shit, I'm acting just like him, that's exactly what Dad would have said, and like, or something like that kind of thing. Like, it's a weird moment when you realize, like, I'm now turning into my dad. Like,
yeah,
you know,
man.
like,
yeah, I mean, you know, you are 100%, when you're born, you're a sponge, dude, to your environment. You eat the foods you eat because that's what your parents ate. You speak the language you speak because that's what they spoke. If you were to, you could be born in Belleville, but, you know, within you know, a week or two of you being born, move to China, and you'd be there and you'd be fluent in Chinese because that's your surroundings. Yeah. So you spent all that time with your parents. I mean, you almost have it's all habits and patterns that you learned, you know, that you end up running. I do it all the time. And then I'll catch myself and go, oh man, all right, well, at least I can keep that one. I don't know. At least it wasn't another, you know, like a bad trait or something. At least it's something kind of comical. So yeah.
Well, let's drop in the last track 5, titled "Wake Up," the title track. And this was actually, I think we sneaked it out there.
Yeah, I had like a rough demo and I couldn't wait, so I put that up.
So you got a little sneak peek back then on your last appearance on the show. But
Correct.
We got it all out there now, and this is another one that's fun to sing along with. And
yeah, man, I wrote this one more or less saying like, you know, this isn't a dream. This isn't going to stop or change unless you do something about it, you know, because I was stuck for so long. It was more or less me saying to myself, like, hey, man, you need to wake up and get moving. Like, this is only going to change from effort on your end. Like, somebody can't come fix your situation for you. Somebody can't come take this away for you. Like, you're going to have to work and get through this. And so I think now, the song, I think, can be, you know, connected to a lot of things that are happening in the world right now. I mean, again, it applies to my situation directly that I was writing at the time, but I feel like you could use this song universally on a whole lot of levels currently with a lot of the stuff that people are talking about in the news and those kinds of things, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I went with the title track for this because ultimately all the songs were tied into me trying to, you know, wake up from this bad state that I was in. And I feel like that is a strong enough message for people to say, like, look, it's not over. It doesn't have to end like this. You can make your life whatever you want to make it.
right.
You know, just wake up from what's going on here and take a look at it for what it is, and let's get moving, you know. So that's where my head was with that song.
Yeah, man.
I can feel you knocking. I can feel you creeping around the door. Feel the fire. I can feel it coming from down below. I know what it feels like to let you under my skin. I remember how bad it is if I let you in. Wake up, this is not a dream. It's your reality. It's time for you to let go, give up the struggle. Quit dancing with the devil. Wake up, this is not a dream. It's your reality. It's time for you to let go, give up the struggle. Quit dancing with the devil. I can feel you scratching. I can feel you crawling on my back. I feel your energy. It feels like I'm under attack. I know what it feels like to let you under my skin. I remember how bad it is if I let you in. Wake up, this is not a dream. It's your reality. It's time for you to let go, give up the struggle. Quit dancing with the devil. Wake up, this is not a dream. It's your reality. It's time for you to let go, give up the struggle. Quit dancing with the devil. I know what it feels like to let you under my skin. I remember how bad it is if I let you in. Wake up, this is not a dream. It's your reality. It's time for you to let go,
I'm very, very glad that the story is, still evolving. That it didn't end with, the in that sad times that you were in, man. Because there's so many. There's a whole laundry list of great musicians that we lost due to various addictions and things. And
Absolutely.
So you're not alone there, but I'm glad you said you're one of the success stories that overcome this and still be here to tell the story and stuff. So I'm glad that that's the case, man, because there's still a lot more music out there to be written and recorded. And
oh yeah. And like I said earlier, if you are a musician and you write music, I feel like it's an obligation to do that. Well, me getting through this situation, I have an obligation to now share my story so it can help somebody. I feel like that with anything in life, that's really where you find your blessings and you really find giving back and giving yourself and your story and not trying to be someone you're not, being honest about what's really going on and what really went on, and because that's the only way you're ever going to evolve and get better at stuff, man. Like hearing people's experiences, so then when you go through that or have something similar to that, you can be like, oh yeah, well, if he was able to get through this, then so can I. Because I promise you, I'm no more special than the next person. Like, I have just different, qualities about me. That's it. I wasn't born or gifted as some special person. So just because I made it out, I'm not like the only one, and I'm not going to be the last. Like there's going to be plenty of people that make it through it. So I just, that's why I feel like I had an obligation to tell that story with those songs and get that out of my system. So hopefully now moving forward, I can kind of get into the happier times of my life that I've been experiencing, and get into some more fun songs, because even with the new translation, I wrote a lot of like breakup songs then, you know what I mean? Because that's kind of, that was what I knew, know, but I would like to get into some more, some fun stuff. I'm going to reach out to, and I have reached out to some friends. I would like to get some features on some songs and, and kind of have, I don't know what the plan is, moving forward. I'm sitting on some tracks, so I just really need to write and record. Nate said he's coming to St. Louis, so he'll be in town. So I'm sure I'll try to get as much done as I can while he's here in town.
Yeah, man.
And can work with him. So the plan, because the original plan was like, all right, we'll put the record out, we'll start performing and stuff, and then boom, you had a curveball thrown at you with the whole pandemic. So I feel like at this point I just need to make as much music as I can and put it out. And then when the time is right, I'll have plenty of songs to choose through for a live set and can have as much fun as we can possibly have at that time. But, I've been grateful. I play acoustic gigs and some of these places that I perform, like these restaurants and bars and stuff, are being able to open enough and have a capacity enough that there's a need for that. So I'm really grateful to be, that I'm just blessed to be able to like wake up and know that, oh, I'm going to be able to feed my family by going and playing a bunch of songs that I've loved and like listening to and interacting with people. It doesn't even feel real sometimes. I'm just like, I can't believe I get paid to do this. Like this is the most amazing stuff, So yeah, we'll see, man. I just really felt like if the first record I put out as a solo artist had to be about that and really work through that. So hopefully, if you're listening to this and you are in a tough spot, hopefully these songs can maybe help you out in some way. Or
What's the thing you think your biggest takeaway from all that? Going through this EP and writing these songs and everything. Is there a certain something you learned or anything that about yourself or about the process or anything?
Yeah. My biggest takeaway would be, when I was in a group, there was 5 of us. And so the mission for the group, how we looked, like as a brand was a collective, conversation. We would all sit around and say, hey, all right, well, how are we gonna hold ourselves, and when we're, in the light, people seeing us as this group, like how, so trying to find who I am as a solo artist was the hardest thing. It was super out of my comfort zone to write these songs. Like it took me more time than I want to tell you to come out with those songs, because trying to write my story, but at the same time, I want my music to be marketable. I want it to be, where you hear it and it sounds like it could be played on the radio or played on these bigger playlists, and so trying to condense a story that you could write a book about into 5 songs was really tough. And then also trying to find that sweet spot of like a good melody and those types of things, because it's a pop record.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to make. And I love that style of music, and it was a big challenge, and I had to force myself to do it. And I was uncomfortable. Even recording, some of it felt weird, you know what I mean? Because I'm used to having the safety net of having 4 other guys behind me that are so insanely talented. No matter what I did, they made me sound great. And now I'm solely on the strength of my vocal ability and my lyrical content. You know what I mean? Yeah, I lucked out and I have amazing music from Wishmaster. Like, I'm not trying to discredit that, but you know what I'm saying? Sure. Like, I had the luxury of having guys that could really sing their tails off, like Al Coretta, who's just a mercenary. That dude there's nothing he can't do. I used to have that guy singing harmonies with me and always made me sound better. And Gerald Dusek, who's one of the most insanely talented dudes I've ever met in my life. I've never seen somebody be able to like just effortless, like just write music like crazy, words, everything, and can tell a story so beautifully, So I was really blessed to have such amazing talent then, and it's terrifying to go from that and to know the experience that you had on stage, because I want people to have that same feel of fun when you see me, than when you did 10 years ago. And I know some people that I'll have as fans won't even know, have that to compare to. So I had to kind of separate my past experience to my current situation and just really kind of focus in on how I want to be seen and what I'm standing for when I put this music out. So
yeah.
That my biggest takeaway is just trying to be aware of, the mission at hand. Like what am I trying to accomplish? I'm trying to lift people's spirits, and I gotta figure. And it's always going to evolve. It's something that I'm always going to change, because I want to be. I'm working on right now. I'm working on a website, so you'll be able to find everything that I do, like with the acoustic gigs, or then whenever I am able to play the music and stuff.
Right.
But
what was more uncomfortable, right? Writing this EP or running down the beach in a Speedo?
Oh, I was hoping you were going to get to that. Writing the record, which it shouldn't be, right. But there's just something so freeing about putting a Speedo and a captain's hat on in a town where 0 people.
Sure.
What's funny too, man, is I swore, I was like, man, I know that one of these cover song videos, if I put one out, it'll crack the thousands. I could do that. And the first video I get it's a video of me running on the beach, added into the Baywatch show load.
All right.
I got 2,000 views on it. I was like, this is the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
I never thought that that's what it would be. I didn't think anything of it. I was just being stupid in the morning and was like 6 a.m. and I put a post. Yo, if this gets 500 comments out within 45 minutes to an hour, I had more. Which shout out to Corey, because my buddy Corey put work in on that. But he probably had 300 of the comments. But
that was a ton of fun, man. I was laughing, cracking up with just watching all that come out through that day, the video and then the pictures. And
it felt majestic, though. I'm gonna tell you now, I felt like a whole new person.
And that baby really arm.
That was it. So you guys should definitely, if you haven't seen it, you should go check out my page, Glenn GLE and Glenn Williams. And there's a picture of me. We rented a boat for the day. And I just kept doing these crazy poses on the boat, which was really funny because people that were driving past us were not impressed. They were not having it. You know, I'd stand there and try to pose out real hard and then wave at them, and they'd just trying to pretend like they didn't see me, whatever. But there's a certain photo where I put my leg up and was trying to do a little stretch out, you know what I mean, where you could get full shot of my legs. And my sister-in-law was behind me in the seat behind me and just had her arm just hanging there. Yeah. And it happened to look like I had a baby arm for a penis. So it was not planned that way, even though it looks like it was. Yeah. But that was just what I like to call an accidental blessing. So that's what that was. So now I think what I'm going to do is I've thought about it. And when I have a little more free time, I have decided to take that persona, Captain Awesome, and I'm going to make him a TikTok sensation.
There you go.
So that's my goal. I want to just basically take a bunch of stupid videos where I'd be doing like everyday life stuff in the Speedo, but in slow-mo. And I feel like, that's the secret recipe. So we'll see.
Right. Yeah. So I recently had kind of a similar situation, nothing involving a Speedo or the beach, but yeah, I'm with you. I put a lot of stuff out there, a lot of just dumb stuff. And then all of a sudden, like I had one post that wasn't even my post. But I shared this. It was a screenshot from like the Bobby Bones show on my page, and it went over 200,000 something shares, 2 million something views. It just went nuts, and like my page was like blown up for a whole week straight. And I'm like, why, of all the stuff I post, like this particular one, like went nuts. Like
that's the thing, is you just don't know
I was like,
what's going to catch fire. So, hey, look, if you put content out, keep shooting, because eventually you're going to hit something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'll tell you now, I have like a whole goals list of stuff that I want to accomplish. And one of them was like, crack 1,000 views on a video. Now, I was not specific to what content the video would be, so I think that's where I need to get a little more specific whenever I'm putting those goals out. But yeah, man, you just don't know. Like, I don't think there's a secret formula. It's just kind of, what's going to catch people in the right mood at the right time where they're going to want to share it with everybody, I think,
Yeah. Well, you were mentioning some of those acoustic shows and stuff, and like I said, you can catch Glenn playing around town from the east side over here in Illinois to you play in St. Charles County. That's sometimes, and on the other side of the river, Crawl Daddies. I sent you over there.
So I've been playing Crawl Daddies. I've got dates booked with them for the rest of the year. I think August was the 1 month that I don't have something on the calendar with them. But that's not to say that somebody might get sick or cancel for whatever reason. I pride myself on being the guy that, like, if you need me last minute, I'm there. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't like passing those opportunities up. So there's been several occasions where I've gotten, some really great gigs on like Saturday nights and stuff like that, that way. But I've 7 in Belleville. I just played there, so I'm waiting for confirmation for a couple of dates moving forward. I just played last night at the Global Brew Tap House in O'Fallon. They have 2 locations, one in O'Fallon and one at Edwardsville. So, again, I just played there. Typically how it goes is a few days or a week or so after the gig, you get with the people that's booking, because I'm not the only person playing there. So you have to kind of get in where you fit it on the calendar. So
yeah, man.
I don't have any crazy like dates for anything coming up currently, except for Carson's and Soulard has signed. We made a little deal together, and I'm going to be playing there every Thursday from 2 to 5 p.m. for their little happy hour. With everything that's going on right now, they're still up in the air. I think there was talks about maybe stepping back a phase or something like that for like the Soulard area. So we had to skip this past week just for safety precautions. But moving forward, the plan is for me to be there every Thursday, and then we're talking about it once it gets closer to like the fall and it's busier and stuff like that. Then we'll add more dates where you can catch, but you'll be able to catch me, exclusively in Soulard at Carson's.
Nice.
So
Yeah, so there's plenty of places around here. You just have to kind of keep up with my pages, Glenn Williams Music, on Facebook, and then once the website goes live here, I'm hoping within the next month we'll have that up. So you'll be able to catch all the dates and stuff like that. So
Well, we did do a little live acoustic performance here today in the living room, and we did a classic 90s throwback.
that's right, did a little mashup.
Yeah, a little No Diggity from
That's right.
Blackstreet, and which is just always a fun. I mean,
It's my
I'm
jam.
sure the patios go nuts when.
Oh
when you hear-
yeah. And that's the best part is like you see, I come out, with this dad bod and I'm a ginger beard, you know what I mean, and I'm usually wearing like flip flops and a band T-shirt with these little short shorts above my knee, and I look like the looks I get when I first get to a gig is the best because they're like, who is this dude? And then I start playing and they're like, all right,
Yeah.
all right, we'll hang out.
Shorty, get down, good Lord. Baby got me going all over town. Strictly if she don't play around, cover much ground's got game by the pound. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day. The true play away, I can't get her out of my mind. Wow, think about that girl all the time. Wow. By no means average, as long as she's got to have it. Baby, you're a perfect 10. I wanna get in. Can I get down so I can be in? Like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to back it up, babe. I like the way you work it, no diggity, no doubt. She's got class and style, true knowledge by the pound. Maybe never act wild, so very low key on the profile. Hey, catching feelings is a no. Let me tell you how it goes. Curves the word, spins the verb. Love isn't come so frequent you word. Oh, rolling with the fatness. You don't even know what the half is. You've got to pay to play. It's a shorty bang bang to look your way. Like the way you work it, jump tight every day, all the time. Cause you're blowing my mind. Maybe in time, maybe I can get you in my ride. Like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to back it up, babe. I like the way you work it, no diggity, no doubt. Play on, play on, play on, play on. 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 Here you go, Shane. I don't want no scrub. Scrub is a girl that can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of a best friend's ride, trying to holler at me, but his game is kinda weak. I know that he cannot approach me. Looking like glass and he's looking like trash. Get with the deadbeat ass. So no, I don't want your number. I don't wanna give you mine, no. I don't wanna meet you nowhere. I don't want none of your time. I don't want no scrub. Scrub is a girl that can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of a best friend ride, trying to holler at, I wanna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a comer. This is fucking awesome. I don't want no scrub. Scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. the way you work it. No diggity, no doubt.
Yeah, but so usually I get a pretty good response for those kind of songs. I love that era of music, man, and maybe it's because that's what I grew up with. But I had some of the best times of my life with those songs in the background.
Oh yeah.
So I really, really, really love, and I just honestly, Teddy Riley's like my favorite producer of all time. That New Jack Swing and that he put that beat out on that song, and it's just amazing. So anything Teddy Riley does, I am a gigantic fan of. Which that was the whole. If you like that last record Bruno Mars put out, they put that record out strictly to make like a Babyface and Teddy Riley album from that style from the '90s. So that's why a lot of the songs that he had with that 24 Karat Magic and all that stuff came from. So
that Bruno's a bad dude.
He's amazing, isn't he, dude? I don't understand. Like that's insane. I don't know how you can write such amazing music like that. I'm trying to get to that point.
Yeah. I saw him at I guess it was Scott Trade. Yeah, we saw him and like years ago now, but he came to town and but it was one of the most incredible shows I've ever seen. Like just like
he's phenomenal.
Him and the band. I mean, the band dances with him the whole time too.
Yeah, it's a full show.
Yeah, and it's so much fun.
And see, so that's where my mindset is when I perform, I want it to be a show.
Right.
So I'm kind of glad that I got my plans, put on hold, because it's giving me more time to like, all right, well, cool. Now I can put together some more tracks. Now I'm not giving a fake deadline to myself to make myself feel rushed because I want to do this again so badly. Like, so I've been able to kind of slow down and really think about it to where when I do have the opportunity to perform, I'm going to make sure every show is one of the most memorable nights that people have had. Like that's my goal, is to be able to get up there and leave people feeling like people like Bruno leaves people feeling, That's what I want. So there's a good shot y'all are going to see me dancing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. 100%. I'll be dancing. There's no doubt about it.
Let's make it happen, man.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Well, again, follow Glenn on your Facebook and Instagram too, right?
Yeah, Glenn Williams Music. It's Glenn with two N's. So nice. You got to write them twice. Glenn Williams Music. You can follow me on Facebook. It's always a good time. Instagram. It's always a good time. Just message me, hit me up, come and see me. I'm trying to just bring some fun to the world. So everywhere I'm going, I'm trying to make it feel like a Soul Train line. You know what I mean?
And we're getting back into school starting back up. I don't know that it'll happen this year, but if you hopefully we can get you out and do some public speaking and stuff like that, and share some of your story with some of the
that's the thing. I became a certified life coach in October of last year, and I had a lot of plans for that, and I still do. It's one of those deals where you can't just like get certified as a life coach and then voila, there's tons of clients, So that's kind of a long-term plan that I've been trying to put into place to where I can get things moving. And then the pandemic really kind of halted that because there's only so much you can do, because with the speaking engagements and those kind of things and sharing your story, if there's no chance to actually have an event, then, until things can evolve and I can get myself on the map more for that, I kind of have to just wait. And so I've been spending a lot of time, piecing together, some speeches that I would want to give if I had the chance, for certain events. And then, I think what I really want to do is coming up here soon in the next couple of months. I've been working on like an hour long master class or seminar, whatever you want to call it. There's always fancy words to make it sound better, but just kind of a class to get some people to come in and you can if you're feeling stuck or you want to elevate yourself to another level and you want to learn how I did it or whatever, I take a lot of things that I've learned from from my mentors and other people that I just follow and just absorb their content and applied it to my life and my story. And I think I have a unique perspective and can portray it in a way that people can really learn and better themselves with it. So moving forward, that's what I'll be doing. And with the website, like I said, when that goes live, you'll be able to catch all kinds of content for that stuff. I'm going to have it broke down into different pieces because, eventually I would love to be able to MC and host, events like that. I would love to be able to go play, at schools and maybe incorporate music and speaking together. I would love to find a happy medium to do that.
For sure.
I've reached out to a few of my friends, and I'll say this too, in case anyone listening happens to be a nurse and works at a hospital and everything. If I can meet the requirements and the safety precautions, I would love to come in and just play some music and mess around and give people, something to get their mind off of what they're going through. So I've waiting to hear back. I'm trying to get it to where I could go into some hospitals and play, and just give back a little bit, you know what I mean, to people that could really use it right now. So if there's a possibility that somebody can put me, and I'm not trying to charge right now, I just want to do my part and try to lift some spirits, so.
Yeah, man. Very cool.
Heck yeah.
Well, Glenn, it's been awesome, man. It's been a great
I
great
appreciate
day.
you coming here.
It's been a ton of fun getting to, even though we've had a lot of heavy stuff we're talking about, but man, it's been great to sit and chat with you today, and appreciate you sharing everything with me. And
oh yeah, man, I appreciate you coming and doing this, man. This is the first time that I've gotten to actually sit down and share my story and share my side of it. And you know what? I'm just gonna shoot my shot right now. I'm gonna never say never. Maybe one day we can convince Al and Justin and Gerald and Corey and Jeremy. Maybe the New Translation can do something in a capacity again.
Yeah.
Down the road, because I went through so much that I feel like life is too short to hold grudges, and life is too short to not do what you want to do and experience the best times you can have. And I playing with those guys was so much fun, man, and I would just like to maybe be able to do that one more time, because the last time I got to be on stage with those guys was not a good situation. It was at the pageant, and I was out of my mind, and it was really embarrassing. So I would like to maybe one day be able to shut the door on that the right way and get some fun closure for everybody, and have an excuse to actually see the dudes, because I miss them all. By the way, check out Justin Coretta's music. That music he's putting out is insane.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
All those guys, friends of the show, man.
Hey, I think Brooke Royal's got some new music coming out. Al's over there in Brooke Royal.
Yeah, Al's also on the new ATG album. That just came out.
Ooh, wee.
Yeah.
Getting featured. See, dude, Al's a mercenary.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm going to try to weasel them on my record. Just not tell them that it's all going to be on the same song. Oh, wait, I just said it. Damn it.
Don't worry.
Damn it. Edit that out. Don't let Al and Justin hear that. I'm going to try to get them both on the same track. So... Yeah, man, they're so talented, dude. It boils down to that too. Like I miss being able to like have that free flowing creativity with some dudes that you consider your brothers. You know what I mean? We've known those guys since we were 8 years old. Man, you know what I mean? They're like family more than anything. So never say never. That's my motto. So hopefully, maybe one day we can do that. That'd be tight.
Man.
I would love to see what we could do in some capacity.
It'd be a good redemption story for sure.
Hell yeah, it'd be tight. You know what I mean? But in the meantime, make sure you check out that solo record I got, though.
Hell yeah.
That solo record. I'm trying to push that out there. I appreciate you letting me roll this out and officially release it, because I was not sure what I was going to do, so it kind of all fell into place. And like I said, next week I'll be with Brandon Sloan from Day in St. Louis. We're going to be putting a video together for one of the songs. I'm going to go perform it for the video and stuff, so I'll be able to release that as well coming up soon. So got some cool stuff on the books.
Hell yeah, dude.
We just got to be able to get in where you can fit in, and for the time being.
Right.
So. But yeah, man, thank you for coming, and thanks for letting me be on the show. I appreciate it, Shane.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Bye, everyone.
See you. Bye.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Well, yeah, that was it.